we're going to have Dennis's Stumpy Unleashed. David's, I wrote the wrong name down. Definitely David with Stumpy Unleashed versus Ethan with Beaky. So Stumpy, both of these have fought earlier on in the rounds. And Stumpy Unleashed has a little vertical spinner on it, actually quite powerful hitting little thing. Ethan's Beaky is a modified version of one that he used to run. Instead of the beak being on top, he's actually got a beak underneath him. So basically he's got a little finger wedge lifter thing that sits underneath of his robot, and when it works appropriately, it actually lifts his entire robot's body up as a lifting wedge arm, which is actually quite beneficial in many ways, because normally when you have these arms extended out in front of you, they're very vulnerable, they're very weak, as you just saw with the finger coming off of one of the minions. Because you have to put most of your weight into your batteries and your robot and all the rest of it, that weapon that's sticking out tends to be very fragile. But this design here, the entire robot is the wedge, and the very delicate little lifting arm is completely underneath the robot. Unfortunately, it's maybe not in the greatest position on his robot. He has a tendency to lift the back end of the body up instead of the front end. So I'm sure he'll be making a revision to that next time around. But for now, he's going to see what he can do with his current design. Certainly not going to go back down from a fight. David, once you're ready. All right, both drivers are ready. We'll start in 3, 2, 1, fight. All right, Stumpy is now unleashed as he gets that little vertical spinner going. It's a tiny little thing. You can see it's maybe a little bit off balance right now as the whole robot is bouncing around. And I think the center of mass is maybe not in the greatest place, because as he drives forward, his entire front end kind of lifts up on him. Meantime, Ethan taking Beaky in here nice and fast, and as you can see, here's the problem. He gets underneath him and he goes to lift up the front end, and his back wheels just come off the ground. Not the part he wanted to lift. Unfortunately, that does happen sometimes. That said, there's still that big open push out over there. Oh, nice shot there. Beaky pushing Stumpy Unleashed into the red hazard. These hazards are really nasty at this 150-gram class because the robots get smaller, but those hazards don't. So what was just an annoyance before is now actually quite vicious. And Beaky getting flipped upside down as he ramps off the front of Stumpy, flipping himself back over again. It's got just an angle on it that he can't flip himself, but as soon as he gets on top of his opponent, then he can just right himself, no problem. Now getting underneath and kind of hooking on Stumpy. You can see that there's some little protrusions at the top of that ramp that kind of help to hold on to his opponent, as well as hopefully making sure he doesn't get stuck when he's upside down. But unfortunately, he's not able to keep his opponent on there entirely as Stumpy just keeps ramping over top. That Stumpy is actually quite fast, but you can see every time he hits the gas, the entire front end comes up, which kind of negates the purpose of that wedge on the front. It's just kind of just like, here, I'll remove my armor for you so that you can get to the good parts. Thankfully, he's up against a wedge lifter type bot, so not worried about getting destroyed necessarily, but does have to try to avoid getting lifted, which, nice shot. Look at that. Beaky taking advantage of him, lifting the front end up, gets underneath, pushes him into the red hazard, bounces him clear across the arena. And once again, Beaky getting underneath, kind of hooking on those little protrusions, this time pushing him into the blue saw. But instead of hitting him hard into it, he's going to try and grind him against it. Not a bad plan. Ethan definitely taking advantage of the pushing match here. And so far, unfortunately, Stumpy's weapon is running, but I haven't seen it do much. It's just not getting a bite in against the front end of Beaky. Less than a minute to go. Both competitors still very fierce in this pushing match, but Beaky does appear to be the better designed bot when it comes to pushing, since really the point of Stumpy is to hit his opponents hard. So he's definitely getting the better of the pushing match so far. Just about 30 seconds left. And Ethan trying to get him over towards the blue side there. Of course, he doesn't want to go out himself. Oh, jeez. But he narrowly manages to take him off of the red hazard into that outside. And now I think Ethan has a good idea what to do with this, because that worked awfully well. And certainly puts him in a better position. A lot less likely to hurt himself in it. 10 seconds to go as Dennis bounces himself onto the corner there off the red hazard. And now upside down, but is still able to move, and time is up. That is the end of the fight. Congratulations, both Ethan and David on that one. That was Ethan with Beaky up against David with Stumpy Unleashed. And this is going to go to a judge's decision. We've got 3 judges, and they have 3 categories: damage, aggression, and control that they must consider. And all 3 of those count towards your final score for how well you did and who will inevitably be our winner. It's unanimous. The win will go to Beaky. Congratulations, Ethan.